Shaded politicians.
Hey, it's Stephen Franco from Here's What I Think, and welcome to my new podcast series, Shaded Politicians.
Shaded politicians.
I'm going to expose and I'm going to lift up the veil on politicians and legal legislation and actions with Shaded Politicians.
Shaded politicians.
Okay, I'm going to begin with Seat Pleasant, Maryland, a municipality in Prince George's County in the state of Maryland, a little municipality that I did business with there for the last 20 years, so I know how the government operates. So listen up. There's a problem with the personal property tax and the preferential treatment that Seat Pleasant has given Planet Fitness. All right, here we go. You know what? I'm going to just read the letter that I wrote to the Office of the Attorney General of the state of Maryland, passed it around to the council. Everybody knows about this, and still nothing is being done. It's going to go like this. I'm writing to formally request that the Office of the Attorney General review and investigate what I believe is unlawful and unequal administration of the City of Seat Pleasant's personal property tax and the city's alleged preferential treatment of a single taxpayer through a reduced tax arrangement. Okay, here's the background. Seat Pleasant imposes what I understand to be the highest personal property tax rate in Maryland, which is 10% now. It was as high as 16% at one time. And the Maryland average is about 2%. And based on the city how it administers the tax, this includes inventory, unlike most jurisdictions. So if you want to open a store in Seat Pleasant, they're going to tax you for your inventory once a year at 10%. Got that? So if you have $100,000 worth of inventory, $10,000 a year, you got to fork over to Seat Pleasant. Okay. This places an extraordinary burden on businesses operating in Seat Pleasant, Maryland. Okay, so what happened is Planet Fitness opened up a location in Seat Pleasant. Within approximately 5 years ago, Planet Fitness opened a new location in Seat Pleasant and had accumulated a delinquent personal property tax balance of approaching almost $500,000. What happened is they got the first tax bill for $130,000, and then what happened is they didn't pay it. They lowered it up and they dragged it out for a long time and accumulated a large tax bill. Okay. This created a situation where Planet Fitness almost, they couldn't operate like that. So what'd they do? They cut a deal. They cut a deal, a confidential deal with the city of Seat Pleasant that abated most or all of the delinquent tax, and they cut a deal giving them a reduced rate, a severely reduced rate going forward. That means that they are paying a lower rate than the guy next door. Why? This warrants a review of the whoever has jurisdiction, the Attorney General, the Office of Inspector General, which we'll get to that in a minute. There's a late break through on this case. Okay, why it warrants the Attorney General review? Because this is non-uniform taxation. You cannot do this. You can't tax one guy at one rate and the guy next door at a full rate. It's a gross violation of equal protection under the law. So I request action, respectfully request action to investigate whether Seat Pleasant granted Planet Fitness a special reduced personal property tax rate or any other materially different treatment from any other similar business, retail, whatever it is. Okay, you should see what the medical guys are paying over there for their equipment. You can't operate. You can't make a profit. You're working for the city, underwater in many cases. Determine whether any abatements, compromises, settlements, payment plans, or special rate arrangements were authorized under Maryland law and properly enacted through lawful municipal process. The whole thing was confidential. They're spending tax dollars or they're giving tax breaks behind closed doors. Review whether the city administration of personal property tax, including taxing inventory, complies with Maryland law. That I think is okay. Take recommended corrective action as appropriate to ensure lawful and uniform taxation. You know, this is not the first time that I had to intervene, was involved in the politics. We'll get into that as we get into more with the program, with the series. This is. I have experience with them in their illegal activity, and I was recommending that the city had been placed in receivership at one time under a previous mayor. But anyway, facilitate and refund the difference to the people that paid the full rate. This has been going on for a few years. They have 5 years of back taxes, or almost 5 years of back taxes. And if you get everybody else the rate, yes, that would probably bankrupt the city. And yes, it should go into receivership. People in the upper echelons of the government, Maryland, maybe even the feds need to look into this. And the feds do need to look at this. You know why? Because they have a USDA loan from the Department of Agriculture that facilitated the reconstruction and the renovation of the City Hall and Public Works. And that's coming too, okay? Because you can't misrepresent your financial position and taxing authority to the federal government and take their $4.1 million when you are giving tax breaks to preferred or whatever you're going to classify Planet Fitness as. Now, you know what? I have requested lots of FOIA stuff, and they are redacting. Okay, if you look in the P section under Pitney Bowes, yep, Planet Fitness. This particular end of the year aging summary of receivables, which are ridiculous if you take a close look. Planet Fitness is not there. There are two redacted line items, and those redacted line items add up to $331,000. Where's the money? Where are the receivables? The receivables are not there. The money's not there. It was never paid off. And by what authority did they have to wipe out this debt without the tax-paying citizens and businesses that elected them to represent them, to take their tax money and give it back to Planet Fitness? Because that's essentially what happened. Or redo the whole thing and make everything fair. It's got to stop. There's a lot of shady business, and I'm calling for the state investigation, federal investigation, to look into what's going on, because this preferential treatment is bad for business. And you know what? It's bad for the county. It's bad for the economic development. Prince George's County already has a bad beef with businesses. We'll get to that more. Anyway, I'm Stephen Franco. Thank you for your time. And I implore the people that have the power to look into this and make it right, do so. And stay tuned. We're coming after the Prince George's County Council and their ways coming up in next episode. Please share this with everybody. You get this wherever you get your podcast. This is the video. Okay, well, we'll do the soundtrack for the podcast. I'm Stephen Franco. Until next time, have a blessed day.
Shaded politician.